is the Fourth Reich's Dark Fleet abandoning Antarctica? According to Elena Danaan, who claims to be a contactee with the Galactic Federation of Worlds, an exodus of a German Fourth Reich controlled dark fleet is currently underway that is creating a power vacuum that different nations are trying to fill by building bases in Antarctica. Her information comes from an extraterrestrial from the Taygeta star system in the Pleiades she identifies as Thor Han, and a current resident at the US McMurdo base who goes by the name Frank, and whose last name I will keep private. On June 6, Elena received an email from Frank informing her of an unusually high number of people entering and leaving Antarctica through McMurdo, which is the largest base in Antarctica and maintains a year-round shipping port through which transport ships arrive with personnel and supplies bound for the US and other national bases. This is what Frank told Elena in an email that was later forwarded to me. Quote, "I want to let you know that the Chinese have 5 bases here already and are setting up 4 more immediately during the absolute worst time of year. There are Chinese everywhere down here, and up until a month ago, I never saw even one. Also of note, now Turkey has been sending in troops independently, and so are quite a few other countries from Africa and South America. All of them want to set up bases here and are bringing in the infrastructure to do so. Everybody seems to want to get in on whatever is down here as soon as possible, to not be left out. I am more certain than ever now that the mad rush is because there is definitely something here. I noticed more and more German-speaking people coming through as well. Numbers have always decreased in the wintertime down here, not increased." End quote. What immediately got Frank's attention was that a significant number of the personnel leaving Antarctica were German-speaking, and they were bound for South America, Argentina in particular. This struck Frank as highly unusual, given what Elena and others had said about a German-controlled dark fleet in Antarctica that was in an escalating military conflict with an Earth alliance and the Galactic Federation. Elena passed on to me Frank's information and contact details, and then communicated with her primary extraterrestrial contact, Thor Han, asking him what was happening in Antarctica. This is her summary of what followed. Quote, "I straight away informed Michael Salla. I put them both in contact. On that same evening, I requested a contact with Thor Han, picking his thoughts about this news. Thor Han confirmed that as a consequence of the Dark Fleet being harshly hit by the Alliance and the Federation, the German Fourth Reich presence in Antarctica is abandoning their outpost. He told me that there was an exodus going on towards colonies out of this solar system through a portal, jump door as he calls it. He said the reptilians based in Antarctica were leaving too. Thor Han said that some very secret groups in some governments know about the existence of such a portal in the South Pole, and now they want it, of course, used to escape to other colonies such as Aldebaran. But he said that even Aldebaran, since they became recently the main Dark Fleet headquarters, is cutting apart from the Antarctica group. Thor Han said that it is in their mentality to cut an infected limb. There are now formidable resources down there to be taken if all these baddies are leaving." End quote. It should be pointed out that Aldebaran was the original stellar location from which Maria Orsic made contact with human-looking Nordic extraterrestrials in the early 1920s. As a result of these communications, the first real space-time devices were built that could transport personnel to Aldebaran. After Hitler came to power in 1933 and co-opted the Vril space program, he reached agreements with Draco reptilian extraterrestrials, and the Nazi SS began building weaponized flying saucer craft for the war effort. Meanwhile, the most advanced aspects of the Vril and Hannibal space programs were relocated to Antarctica to continue developing interplanetary and interstellar craft. Consequently, it should come as no great surprise that the Dark Fleet today has a major base in the Aldebaran star system, in addition to bases in our solar system such as Mars and the planetoid Ceres. This is especially so if there is a portal from Antarctica to a planet in the Aldebaran star system. Elena continued her summary of her June 6 communication with Frank as follows. Quote, "Of course I asked Frank this crucial question as he mentioned noticing an increased presence of German-speaking people at McMurdo. Did he think they could come from inland Antarctica in the intent to leave the continent? If this was verified, it would make tremendous sense. I believe only the high grades are authorized to leave through the portal, and the population of this breakaway civilization had no other option than to leave by regular boats and planes. And the fact that everyone wants a part of the cake, now that the baddies are fleeing away, could also explain the sudden rush of all these countries to Antarctica. Thor Han also said that the Earth Alliance had been sending military troops to the South Pole since a while now, to help kick the baddies out, and this confirmed also that my friend had noticed these last months a growing activity of US soldiers going to the South Pole." End quote. If Elena's information is correct, that the Dark Fleet is conducting an exodus out of Antarctica, then it would not be a great surprise that German-speaking workers would be among the first to leave. Presumably, senior scientific personnel would leave through spacecraft and portals, as Elena described, and low-level scientific and maintenance personnel would leave via conventional means such as transport ships out of McMurdo. This apparently was what Frank was witnessing, just as the Antarctic winter was beginning. On June 8, Frank emailed both Elena and I and wrote, quote, "Although many foreign countries are pouring in here right now, Elena was correct. These German folks are all leaving. I want to ask them if they plan to return in the spring, but most of them won't even talk to me about anything and carry themselves like I am not good enough to talk to them. Very cold personalities, and if they speak English, they won't around me. But I do not see any Germans coming in through McMurdo, just leaving." End quote. This is how Elena summarized her communications from Frank in response to Thor Han's message. Quote, "We received another message from Frank saying that Thor Han was right. The Germans were all arriving from inland Antarctica and leaving the continent on boats to South America. They were very secretive and wouldn't talk to anyone. This was really happening. The Dark Fleet was being hammered by the Earth Alliance and the Galactic Federation on Earth, Mars, and in this star system, and the Antarctica exodus was the very proof that all of this was real." End quote. In previous articles and interviews, I've discussed Elena's information about the Galactic Federation of Worlds viewing the Earth, Moon, and Mars as the epicenters of a future galactic tyranny, and subsequently wanting to liberate their respective populations from negative extraterrestrial influences. In subsequent updates, Frank has confirmed that the German-speaking people leaving Antarctica were being shipped out to Argentina, and they continued being very secretive about their movement. My own research on the German breakaway civilization in Antarctica, based on information provided by Corey Good, Dr. Pete Peterson, William Tompkins, Vladimir Tuzinski, and others, has shown that a significant German Fourth Reich presence was established during World War II and has been maintained through subsequent agreements with the US and other major nations. I provide the details on these historic processes, agreements and events in my 2018 book, Antarctica's Hidden History, Corporate Foundations of Secret Space Programs. More recently, in May 2021, I updated my information about the Dark Fleet's history in a 4-hour webinar that is now available on Vimeo. The Multinational Antarctic Treaty from 1961 was, in fact, a cover for the pacification of Antarctica in order to protect the German breakaway colony from any future military attacks similar to the failed Operation High Jump from 1946 to 47 and Operation Tamerlane from 1944 to 1946 missions launched by the US and United Kingdom. In the subsequent decades, the German Antarctica bases were greatly expanded with an influx of personnel and resources from the US and other countries that developed very large industrial manufacturing facilities for spacecraft that would be supplied to the Dark Fleet, a large corporate-run program good called the Interplanetary Corporate Conglomerate, and a multinational civilian scientific space program that more recent insiders such as Spartan 1 and 2, interviewed by Linda Moulton Howe, have revealed exists in Antarctica and is run out of the National Security Agency headquarters in Fort Meade, Maryland. Unfortunately, many of these Fourth Reich / Dark Fleet facilities used slave labour in clear violation of the Antarctic Treaty, which Good was the first to reveal back in October 2017. In fact, he says that he was briefed about an earlier attempted exodus in May 2016 that was neutralised by a fleet of unknown advanced spacecraft, presumably belonging to the Earth Alliance that battled Dark Fleet / Interplanetary Corporate Conglomerate vessels over Antarctica. It is therefore very possible that the German-speaking workers that Frank saw leaving McMurdo in early June 2021 were evacuating the Dark Fleet bases due to recent setbacks. Indeed, their secretive behaviour, according to Frank, suggests they were leaving highly classified bases hidden somewhere in the huge Antarctica continent. In addition to Frank's information, is there any other corroboration for Elena's remarkable revelations of the Dark Fleet leaving Antarctica? There are two distinct bodies of circumstantial evidence that support such an exodus is indeed happening. The first is the exposure of the deep state effort to rig the 2020 US federal elections so as to implement their New World Order, which would have enabled Dark Fleet operations to continue out of Antarctica indefinitely. The Fourth Reich's interests in the US presidency and its importance for continued Dark Fleet operations was all but openly revealed when President Obama's then Secretary of State John Kerry visited Antarctica at the height of the November 2016 presidential election. It has become clear, given subsequent events, that Kerry's real purpose was to brief the Fourth Reich about Trump's looming presidency and outline the deep state's master plan to neutralize and eventually remove Trump from power. Consequently, the Fourth Reich was a key element in the deep state orchestrated coup to remove President Donald Trump from power through a rigged election. The second political process that is occurring, which Frank identified in the first email cited above, is the recent influx of countries such as China and Turkey into Antarctica. What was very strange was that this was occurring right now during the onset of winter, the worst time of year. Only a month earlier, there were few Chinese seen at McMurdo, according to Frank. Now, they were everywhere. Recent mainstream media stories do confirm that both China and Turkey are building new bases in Antarctica, with China aiming to become the dominant presence there. The sudden influx of personnel and resources into Antarctica during the start of the winter months does point to the different countries trying to fill a newly created power vacuum. It would make sense that the Fourth Reich is turning over its Dark Fleet assets in Antarctica to countries that are most sympathetic to its political agenda and activities. China, Turkey, and countries from South America and Africa would be suitable candidates. The information from Frank about events that are currently unfolding in Antarctica is highly unusual and significant. It corroborates the much more startling information from Elena Danaan about a Dark Fleet exodus currently underway in Antarctica. Consequently, my confidence in the accuracy of Elena's information from her Galactic Federation of Worlds contact, Thor Han, has been enhanced from what I have learned from Frank. I will seek further independent corroboration for this incredible information and report on it when it becomes available. This has been Dr. Michael Salla with Exopolitics Today. I want to announce that on June 19, I'm going to hold a webinar on the untold history of America's reverse engineering of alien spacecraft. And in that webinar, I'll go into the history of how the US first gained possession of extraterrestrial spacecraft and began reverse engineering efforts immediately after the end of the Second World War.